Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, finally back from excursion, joined this week by Danny Hernandez and James Casanti, recapping next week's episode of AEW Dynamite, which I think was called Quake by the Lake or something, because we needed another themed Dynamite. But even then, it was still really good. So let's start, obviously, with the main event of the evening, which was Jon Moxley versus the returning Lionheart, Chris Jericho, for the AEW Interim World Heavyweight Championship.
The FYI Championship now,
or
if
as,
you're paying attention.
As Moxley did call it early in the show, the FYI Championship. As I just mentioned, Jericho came out, as he has been goaded into, in the Lionheart gear, brought back what I believe is his old theme. Correct? I'm banking on you there, James. All right, noise. It was pretty cool. This match started very technical. Obviously, Jericho's been pushing, Moxley's been pushing Jericho to fight more in his older style. A lot of mentions of the Stu Hart dungeon and stuff like that. So it started with a very technical match. I immediately was like, this is going to be so slow and technical, because the second Excalibur talks about Mexican submissions, it's just going to be like that. But it wasn't too slow, but it was definitely very technical. It was a very smart match. Up until the point, basically, where Jericho ripped Moxley's earring out of his ear.
Yep.
And then it started getting technical and violent, which was really cool. And then that was right before the break. Fast forward a bit towards the end of the match. Moxley's just bleeding everywhere. Jericho goes and takes two turnbuckle pads off of the top turnbuckles to distract Aubrey. And while she's distracted, Sammy Guevara, who's in the crowd, tries to throw Floyd the Bat into the ring. And he completely fucked up and cleared the entirety of the ring. So Jericho had to bust ass outside of the ring, grab it, go back inside the ring while Aubrey's still, quote unquote, distracted, hit Moxley with it. He goes down. Jericho goes to the pin, and Jericho ends up kicking out. Eventually, after that, Moxley is able to send Jericho into the turnbuckle, the exposed one, and just completely busted Jericho's forehead open, like to the point where after the match they had to give him a towel. He was gushing blood. So so he hits the turnbuckle. Moxley gets him into a bully choke, but Jericho is able to slip out because of the blood. He reverses into a lion tamer, but Mox eventually gets out of that, puts in a chokehold, and Jericho is forced to tap. So Moxley's still now AEW Interim World or FYI World Heavyweight Champion. Danny, I'll go to you first. Like I said, very technical match, but also very violent and very bloody. And despite quite a few shenanigans from Jericho, not too much interference in the whole thing, which I actually very much enjoyed.
Did you make a big enough note of the fact that Moxley kicked out of the Judas Effect?
Because I might have sort of skipped that.
I think he did skip that.
I did skip that. My apologies. Yeah, so after Mox was hit with the bat, Jericho, like Danny just said, was able to land a Judas Effect. However, he wasn't able to cover Moxley very quickly, so Moxley became the first person in AEW to kick out of said Judas Effect. And that was before Jericho ended up running into the turnbuckle and fucking his face up. So my apologies. First week back, a little rusty. But
what did you even learn on excursion? This attention to detail is like the first thing they teach these young lions.
First of all, we know clearly where he was. I explained it for the past couple weeks, what he was doing the whole time. But I think Jericho's reaction to Moxley kicking out of the Judas Effect is the best facial expression he's had in all of AEW. Like that was part of me was like, yeah, this is why Jericho was the first champ. You know, he really showed. And even though I never thought he was going to win this match, part of me was like, I wouldn't be mad if they did. As much as a Punk Jericho match probably would suck in 2022, those are still some of my favorite matches from 2012. So, you know, I'll take a run at it 10 years later, but so good. And real quick, because this match is great, but I got to ask, are you a Mets fan by any chance? Or?
Nope.
Not really.
No, okay.
Good. That's great. I'm proud of you.
I can just see the colors, so I tend to wear their stuff a lot.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
It's all the material they had left at the time. All the good colors were taken.
Yeah, navy blue and plain old white, great colors. Yeah,
It works.
I guess. Anyway, so Jericho's fantastic, as I was clearly just saying, but he made this match. Like Moxley is great, and Moxley is. We'll talk about what he's got coming up in the future in a little bit, but he's going to be great in that. And I think he's going to actually carry that. But Jericho made this match because, again, as I said last week and or the week before, you give Jericho a lot of shit, but he takes the bumps. He does the spots. He's willing to do anything that he's asking someone else to do. Like he wanted Mox to bleed. He also bled. He's not gonna, he could easily be like, I am the veteran. I am the legend. You bleed. You do this. But Jericho.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Fantastic. But Jericho, he will do anything, which is crazy. But, as I said maybe a week or two ago, this all ties back to Darby Allin being a bad influence on Sting. And now all these old men want to fucking do crazy spots and hurt themselves. But I really have mad respect for Jericho after this match. Not that I didn't already, but I really think he showed. I love the entrance. I love the tights. Everything about this was really good. I loved ripping the air out. I love the "you sick fuck" chants by the crowd. Although, ultimately, after looking at that urine, that's Jeff Hardy took a worse urine-related spot than that.
Oh, with the screwdriver?
Yeah, that was uncomfortable. I won't even make fun of him because that's like I can't believe he did that kind of thing. But yeah, respect. I actually wanted to throw in an urine real quick for this after seeing that, but it wasn't worth that much effort. But,
not to mention you're covering your ears at the moment, so
yeah, so it would just hurt if anything, because I haven't worn an ear in a long time. But Jericho was great. Moxley was. I don't want to make it sound like Moxley didn't do anything in this match. He was great too, but oh man, this is what Jericho's been missing for a while. This is why he was the first champion. This is why he's a main eventer, and this is what he needs. Like I don't know if we're ever gonna talk about this, but the guy's like, I thought Miro had a really great point when he made fun of whoever the fuck was challenging for the title at Battle for the Belt or Rampage or whatever show that was on, where he was like, who is this guy challenging for the title? I was like, yeah, it's a good point. Why are we having these like relative nobodies challenging for the title?
I will say it was an eliminator match, so it wasn't for the title, but it was basically a shot at the title. But I get what you're saying. Like the guy won it at Ric Flair's like last match pay-per-view. So I do understand where Miro's coming
Ric Flair from. Getting a title shot,
because he passed out twice during his last match. He can't. His heart can't afford to stop beating a third time.
Oh, he was dehydrated.
Hey,
of blood. His heart was dehydrated of blood.
Wrestling is like baseball. Okay, you got 3 strikes and you're out, and he only had 2, so he's still in the game, baby.
But he might have fouled one off too.
God.
But yeah, like this is what the title needed, and we, as great as some of these other matches have been, it needed a star to go against the star that is Jon Moxley, and this is the first time where the interim title has felt like there's been star power at all sides of it. So wasn't the best match, but it served its purpose borderline perfectly.
I think to your point about Jericho and him looking so good in this match is he was the one telling the story here. Like Moxley was just kind of, I don't want to say he was there to help tell it. Well, but it was mainly focused. Yeah, I guess I was originally going to say, I don't want to say he was just there, but he was there to help tell it. It was mainly focused on Jericho, him, trying to be the Lionheart and, bring back all of that skill and, technical work that he used to use all of the time, as opposed to all of the nonsense he tends to use now. And obviously, eventually he realized that that wasn't going to cut it, and he resorted to nonsense. But I think that's why he looked so good in this match. And again, to your point, like, he's willing to take the bumps. He's willing to bust his head open, again, quite badly. So I think he acquitted himself unbelievably in his match. I think this is one of his better singles matches in a while, perhaps since the one he had with Eddie. Like, was
for Moxley or Jericho?
No, for Jericho.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because also, again, he doesn't really wrestle a lot of singles matches anymore. So
yeah.
But I thought, James, that like Dan said, he looked great, and obviously Moxley did a great job helping him tell that story.
Oh, I completely agree. It's funny because when you think of Moxley, he's sort of been thrown into the category of more of an extreme type of wrestler, more of like a hardcore type of wrestler, a brawler. But if you go back into his career, deep into his career, he was always known as a technical guy. And it's something that sort of got lost going as far as the Shield. In the Shield, Roman was the power guy. Seth was the high flyer. And instead of having Moxley be the technical guy, they kind of just had him be
a lunatic?
Yeah. On the fringe of something.
Well, he was kind of the mouthpiece in the beginning.
Oh, no,
yeah.
For sure. The Shield was definitely built around him very early on. But I mean, style-wise...
Yeah, remember when he was the focal point of the Shield? It feels
crazy
to say out loud.
Yeah, he was the focal point, and eventually it shifted to Seth, and then towards the end it shifted to Roman. It was brilliant.
And then he ruined the United States Championship, and they were like, no more. But... point being, like his move set was always technical, and then that sort of got lost in the Shield. And it's been one of my true joys of seeing Jon Moxley wrestling in AEW as opposed to Dean Ambrose in WWE, that we're seeing some of that technical side come back. Don't get me wrong, he's still going to get bloodied, he's still going to land on thumbtacks, he's still going to go through tables and do different crazy shit. But his main, like, we're seeing that extra side of him that makes him a truly great wrestler pop up. And I think this match exemplified that. It was hardcore, it was rough, it was bloody, it was brutal, it was violent, but that technical side is what's really going to be remembered. Because we've seen Moxley get bloodied. We've seen Jericho get bloodied. But the fact that Jericho went deep back into his history and brought out the man of 1,000 holds, that was awesome. Or no,
1,004 holds.
1,004 holds. That was great. To see Moxley go toe-to-toe with him and win via tap-out. That was awesome. I love that finish. I loved all of it. And I love a good technical match. And when you add a little extra spice to it, when you add a little extra flavor like they did with the blood, I thought it was top-notch.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Because you're right, this was a really good technical match. And then I think this brought it past some of the other technical matches we've seen. Especially like when Brian wrestles, or like sometimes when like who's the other Brian Zack Sabre Jr. where like they wrestle, it's like all ground stuff, and it's good and it's technical, but like it's kind of just missing a bit of flair. And
I will never say that about a Bryan Danielson match.
All right, all right, fair enough, but like but Zack Sabre Jr. I think especially when you get like the really strict on the ground type of matches, sometimes they're just missing a little bit of something unless you really sort of love those matches. And this had a great combination of that and, a real hard-hitting match with, a bit of color, like you said.
Yep.
But
a lot of color tonight. A lot of color tonight.
But just in general, that's right. I mean, the show started with Brody King literally just
We'll get to that.
Getting all of his face paint washed off. But like you said, we will get to that. Because let's be honest here, as good as this match was, it's not what anybody wants to hear us talk about. They want to hear us talk about what happened after the match. So obviously, Jon Moxley taps out Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager run in to jump Mox. Quickly thereafter.
One second. Sammy Guevara, who got married like 2 days ago, now on Dynamite. Did the man not have like a honeymoon to go to? They really needed to drag him to Dynamite for a 2-second bit.
Maybe he was in Minneapolis.
Yeah, haven't they gone enough?
Having a honeymoon in Minneapolis.
The Mall of America's there, dude. Fuck you. People get married in that thing.
Also, turn your wedding into a wrestling angle. What the fuck? Do it on TV. What's going on
here? That always works out.
Yeah. No, they already have enough going against them. I don't think we need to stack the odds even further.
So I digress. After those two lackeys came down to jump Mox, Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, Eddie, and Ortiz all come out to try to even the odds. Then the rest of the JAS come out and they fuck up everything. So as Jericho is lining up to hit Moxley with the title, static, cult of personality, CM Punk is back, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, I thought that was Chad. Fuck.
No one has seen Chad and CM
Punk. Then why isn't he here?
Because he was on Dynamite cleaning absolute fucking house. He takes out basically the entire JAS, clears the ring. Eventually, it's just him and Mox. Mox gets up. They have a stare down. Mox eventually backs up, flips him off, and bumps him on his way out. So, also, random side note, while Mox was waiting to get up into the stare down, somebody threw the ring bell into the ring. I don't know why, but it was there, and it was funny. But James, CM Punk has returned. They haven't officially said he's cleared. They were questioning it on commentary, but he was hopping around on his bad leg, so he looked okay.
Yep.
And now we're obviously setting up for CM Punk versus Jon Moxley, most likely at All Out.
I agree. I think that's the obvious main event, and it'll be interesting if they could actually keep that feud going that entire time, because it's the end of August, right?
Well, yeah, beginning of September, like September.
Yeah, so it's not that far.
Right around Labor Day.
A good little feud. Yeah. First of all, I would like to say you guys are welcome, because clearly seeing me at C2E2 inspired Punk to speed up his recovery and get back in the ring sooner. You guys are all welcome for the main event of All Out.
It wasn't him dropping like $50K on comic books for Danhausen and him needing to check again.
Nope. It was, me giving him the old, you got this, kid. And there you go. So, Punk, you're welcome.
I firmly believe that's how that interaction went. So
it's true. He fist bumped me a second time. Not just the one time, the obligatory time that you do when you greet a fan. He gave me a second one because it's me.
Because you're John Cena guy from Ring of Honor. Yeah,
he couldn't even see me. But it was awesome to see Punk back. The crowd ate it up. How could they not? I wish that he had come out with his title. I wish that we had seen him have his title and Moxley. Moxley had that cool moment of just, he knew Punk was right behind him, flips the title over his shoulder, and then just stares him down. I wish Punk had his title to make that moment feel bigger. But I guess for the rundown that he needed to do, it didn't make sense to carry the belt with him. But it was still an epic moment. We've been building towards this match since Moxley won the title. And I'm just very excited to no longer have an interim champion and to have Punk back. And there's a part of me that isn't 100% sure that Punk is winning. There's a part of me that is a little doubtful. I know that part is probably wrong, but man, how interesting would that be?
Yeah, I mean, Mox has been hot lately, obviously. So I think that was the point, just to feed that doubt. So we'll see, and we'll obviously talk about this more in episodes to come. I think, though, James, perhaps the reason he didn't bring the title down, aside from the fact, as you stated, obviously he didn't need it for the run-in, it probably just would have been a bit of a burden. Maybe trying to avoid the John Cena, CM Punk stare down with the belts thing. You know what I mean?
Possible. It's very possible.
I feel like he would lean into that, because he's been more than happy to be the John Cena in a lot of cases already so far in his short AEW run.
Sure.
So I feel like he definitely would have actually done that.
Fair, but I was thinking more like this. When he came back that time with the title, when he returned after he left, he was coming in this not the same way, like he didn't beat anybody down. But my point was just him walking in the ring, holding the title up to the person currently actually wrestling and holding the title. I think would have been just not repetitive, but I think they were just trying to avoid a similar visual. Perhaps
it's possible. It's possible. I don't know, but either way, I thought it would have been a nice little visual
Yeah,
but I'm not going to nitpick. Yeah, I'm not going to nitpick. We got Punk back, and that match is coming.
Do they have 2 titles? I haven't even thought about that. They did have 2.
I'd imagine they had 2 TNT titles. I'd imagine they'd have 2 AEW titles.
Yeah.
Just because that visual of the 2 of them holding their titles is going to be the poster, you know?
Well, they've had about 5 or 6 TNT titles at this point, so.
Yeah, but I mean,
I know what you meant. Yeah.
When Sammy and Cody unified it, they were essentially the same belt at that point.
Yeah. Even though they were like different colors, but that's. I know.
I think one was just diamond encrusted. I think that was the only difference.
Yeah. Whatever. Well, obviously, we'll talk more about titles another time. But Danny, what were your thoughts on CM Punk's return and where we go from here between him and Moxley?
So, I like what you guys were saying about how Mox handled it. How he knew Punk was behind him, threw the title over his shoulder, flipped him off, and was like, "I don't give a fuck. I'm the champ now." And I like that mindset going into this feud for Moxley, which is why I was so happy that he had a real title defense. That's why I think he should have been facing real, legitimate contenders this whole time, because then his attitude about it would just be so much more warranted. Like, dude, you're not. Who did you won 1 match, and look what I've done in this time where you've been gone. Yes.
Who has he defended against? Brody, Takeshita, Jericho. Who else?
I think that's it. Whoever he didn't have a title.
Oh, the Impact. Yeah, the Battle Royal winner.
That was Brody.
That was Brody. Yeah.
No. From Impact. From the Ric Flair Battle Royal winner.
Oh yeah, well that wasn't a title defense. So like I said, that was an eliminator match.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, so
I think he has had 1 or 2 title eliminator matches at this point. Like he had a couple of those, and then he also had 3 or 4 title defenses. I think the ones you mentioned.
Yeah, gotcha. But if you just had just a couple more legit contenders, or just better, I don't know, because I like Brody. I don't want to say anything and. Takeshita, right?
Yeah.
Like he's good, but the guy hasn't won a match on TV, so why is he?
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I really like him, and
he won good. 1 match. He's won 1 match so far, but it's on way TV? Too few. Yeah, on Rampage the night before Battle for the Belts.
I think he beat Eddie too.
After he lost against Moxley.
Oh no, he did.
Yes.
Okay, my bad. He lost to Eddie on Rampage, but Moxley liked watching him so much that he wanted to fight him, but that wasn't for the title either. Now that I remember that, because
gotcha.
I remember Tony Khan specifically said, "I'll let you fight him, but it can't be for the title because he lost to Kingston." So
gotcha.
He hasn't had that many defenses.
Is it just? I feel like we're missing someone, right?
Probably, we definitely are, but
I'm trying to look it up, but I can't find anything.
But yeah, if you just had some more quality opponents, this would feel. I don't want to use cliches, but this would feel more like a unstoppable force meeting a very, very movable object with Punk's bad wheel. But this could be, but it's still epic, and this match is going to be great. And I understand what you mean. You don't know for sure the Punk's going to win, and I think they're doing a great job of making it seem like that, especially Summer of Punk. It was supposed to be Summer of Punk again this year, and the summer is basically over by the time this match happens. So hell, he could, I guess, lose it. He could lose it to Mox, but God, him being back is such a breath of fresh air. Because
Roosh, he defended against Roosh.
Ah, yes. He also he beat Tanahashi for the title. But I do think that the problem a bit with this reign was that it was wrapped up in the Jericho Appreciation Society feud, because that was his main focus. And then obviously Punk got hurt and threw everything into disarray. So it was a bit wrapped up in that, and he wasn't able to get perhaps as many title defenses as we would have liked to see.
True.
If he wasn't wrapped up in that feud.
I don't think it's about the quantity. I do think it's about quality, because the Jericho part of this was the best part of his title reign.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about quality, but the return is great because it's super quick. It's almost quick enough that we didn't need an interim champion, but
I agree. Like, he won the title in June. like end of June. So July, and now we're in August. It's been a little over a month.
Yeah, I mean, there's only been one pay-per-view and 18 special episodes of Dynamite since then.
Let's also not forget, though, he won the title in June, but Punk has been out longer than that because they did have to have the tournament and then wait till Forbidden Door to actually crown champion.
Oh no, for sure, but there's only been an interim champion for a short amount of time to the point of maybe you don't need an interim champion. I agree with Danny.
If you made it from one pay-per-view to the next pay-per-view with the champion, being back in action, I feel like you could have done it because Forbidden Door was more of a premium live event than a pay-per-view.
I do genuinely wonder if they only made it because they wanted Tanahashi to fight for the title.
That is a good point. I think AEW wanted a world title represented at this pay-per-view. That is a good point.
It's possible that was part of the contract with New Japan where Tanahashi had to fight for the title and they had to figure something out on the fly to make that work. So
I mean, they could have just had him in the Fatal 4-Way. The New Japan title could have just main evented the pay-per-view, and I feel like that would have made New Japan happy. But that's whatever. Punk is back, and that's
and all is right with the world.
Yeah, because that's just they were lacking those top guys. Bryan and Punk both being out at the same time, and even Adam Cole is like kind of sick of him as I've become. Like them all being out at the same time was just brutal, especially rough. Now that they're slowly being brought back in. It's like, that was worse than it felt like.
Yeah. Plus, not to mention, obviously, as we've been saying, Kenny is also gone, which is a big gaping hole in their roster. So all those 3 or 4 guys being out all at the same time was just brutal. So Punk being back, obviously, I think fills the absolute top of this card very quickly and very easily. We get this championship match to unify the title, most likely at All Out, which is going to be amazing. We also get Mox versus Punk on the mic for a few weeks, which should be a lot of fun. So I think there's a lot to look forward to here.
Maybe we'll actually get an interaction between Bryan and Punk.
That's crazy.
James can fucking cry about it.
That's crazy. No one, AEW can't make me that happy. It's been so long.
We'll get there eventually. Perhaps a small one.
We will, man. I feel like that's borrowed time right now.
My hope, my honest to God hope, Punk beats Moxley, and instead of getting to celebrate, Bryan immediately comes out and confronts him. That is my hope.
If that doesn't happen now, AEW, that's it. It's all over. I am this close to going full-blown WWE.
Oh, God.
Right now, and if that doesn't happen now, if those 2 ex-WWE guys don't
Danny's going to go all in on Papa H. But like I said, I think we have a lot to look forward to. I think we have a lot to look forward to the next few weeks. And I'm excited for all of it. All right. Do you guys want to get that last little bit out there before we move on?
I just didn't hear what Danny said.
Oh, no. I just said I won't give Triple H the credit for it.
Fair enough.
Enjoy it.
All right. Let's move back to the top of the card here where we had Darby Allin versus the aforementioned Brody King in a coffin match, which is obviously now Darby's signature match. Darby immediately jumped Brody as he did his entrance. The spotlight came on in the ring, and Darby from the dark corner flew in and just blindsided Brody. Then started hitting Brody with a tack-covered skateboard, hit him in the stomach, and when he pulled it out, those tacks were not well glued on. About a dozen of them stuck to his stomach. There were a few in his back, and then Darby just ripped his fucking head open with it. And all the really cool face paint Brody King had on was immediately covered in red.
I mean, that made it cooler.
It did.
It made it cooler.
It did, but he was fucking leaking.
He was, and I hope he's okay. I hope Brody.
So do I. I mean, I thought between him and Jericho, there were enough pints of blood to fill a American Red Cross. So
I was really wondering where you were going to go with that, but you hit it.
I saved it. I couldn't. I was trying to think of like the ward in the hospital, and I just went American Red Cross. Saved my.
There you go.
So also speaking of face paint, Darby's was really cool. It had like barbed wire on it. They did a close up on it really quick. It looked awesome. So shouts to whoever did that. I think it was him. He also had the tape on his hand from when he tattooed his hand last week.
Yeah,
which I thought was a good touch. Anyway, so coming out of commercial, Brody had Darby set up on a table, and Brody just belly flopped straight through it, and there was no water in the pool, and I thought that was really funny. So eventually, shortly thereafter, the lights went out, and they come back on, and Malachi and Buddy Matthews, who has returned, were standing in front of Brody to protect him. Darby still runs up to do the tope suicida, but as he hits the ropes, Julia Hart comes out from underneath the ring to grab him, which allows Buddy to come in and start jumping him, and they just start kicking the shit out of him. Eventually, Buddy sets up Darby for a cannonball through the table in the corner, which was just brutal because King is such a big dude and gets so much speed that he killed both of them. So Buddy jumps out of the ring to set up the coffin, and when he opens it, it's Sting, who's been hanging out in the coffin the entire time, very comfortably, I guess. Also, really cool face paint because he got hit with the mist a couple weeks ago. He was showing on his eye, which was just awesome looking. So after Sting takes out Buddy, he hops in the ring to confront Malachi, flips the bat at him. Malachi picks it up, twirls it around a bit, decides he doesn't want any of this shit, throws it away, and walks out. Sting follows. They have a standoff at the top of the ramp while the match is still going on. Brody sets up the coffin so that he can choke Darby out on the ring apron as he has a few times now, and Darby would fall right into it. But Darby's able to worm his way out. He grabs Brody's chain that he wears to the ring, wraps it around his hand, punches him, gets Brody down, and then hangs him through the ropes with the chain to choke him out, lets him go, and he bounces perfectly into the coffin, and it's such.
How good was that bounce?
And Darby wins.
So good.
He perfectly landed into it.
That was some Harlem Globetrotters level of bouncing. So, Danny, I'll start with you here. Obviously, a lot of blood. I thought I wasn't gonna like this match. I actually ended up enjoying it a lot, despite all the interference and shenanigans. Perhaps a bit overbooked, but a lot of fun and a good way to start Dynamite, I thought.
Absolutely. I knew I would enjoy it, but I hated the fact that it was happening because I haven't enjoyed this feud. But the match, of course, was always going to deliver because it's a coffin match with Darby Allin. And, you know, Brody King's up pretty good in his own right. I'm not sure why James was booing the Sting popping out of the coffin spot, but I loved it.
I love this spot. I love the spot. I just had an issue with it. But no. I want you to. I want you to.
I want to know what it is. I'm very interested.
The amount of time it took Sting to get up.
Yeah.
Why didn't Buddy just close the lid?
It would have been funnier if Buddy closed it and like ran away out of fear.
Right. He
or
stood
not,
there.
Like, he closed it and then he like looks around like, did I really just see that?
Right.
He opens it again. Like
it took too long, and there was so much room for comedic improv, and they didn't take advantage of it. And I was like, he deserved to get hit with that bat because of how long he took to react to the 60-something-year-old man getting up off the floor.
I mean, you know, he was in there a long time. He probably fell asleep. It was dark. Like,
this was Dynamite.
This was Dynamite. Sleeps that way. Like,
yeah, he's laying down in the dark. You know, it's how could you not fall asleep? You would fall asleep.
Oh, I definitely would. I definitely. Yeah. I mean, I would probably pass out from like my claustrophobic fear that I would just have a panic attack and knock out. So fainting versus falling asleep is two different things, but same result, I'd say.
Either way, same thing. I wouldn't fall asleep, but I have sleeping problems, so that's a whole nother issue. But that was, Sting popping out. Loved it. I just can't wait for like when Sting's done and we can just make an amazing compilation of all of his surprise attacks. And it's going to be
him replacing amazing. The statue for Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
there for that, bro.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
amazing. I love that. But I thought, okay, him having the paint around his eye is a nice touch, but it opens up so many silly questions.
Yep.
Where it's like, so is that what his actual face is, and then he has like that's there permanently now, or is he painted around it, or is he like painting it on himself? Like it's a whole thing, but there's the silly things you just gotta let go at wrestling. But and I liked how Malachi handled it. I liked how he almost was above fighting Sting. Like he kind of was like, why would I do this? What benefit do I gain from this? So I actually really liked that handle. I love that Buddy Matthews is back because you know what? That's the trio I want to win the titles, honestly. Like,
yeah. But yeah.
I mean, if we're not getting Hung Bucks, even then, I don't want them to win.
I don't either.
I'm
very into best friends.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's one I wouldn't mind either because they're long overdue for titles. But in terms of people who are still booked relatively strong,
yeah,
House of Black feels like a really good shout to win this thing. But yeah, match was great, fun stuff. Darby finally. Yeah, or not really, because it's the same pattern with Darby. I'm not going to get into that whole spiel again, but great match, insane shit.
I think that's a good way to put it. Insane shit. Like I really liked this match, as overbooked as it was. James, outside of Sting being a tad geriatric, did you like this match as much as we did?
I did. I loved the match. I loved seeing Sting. It's Sting. It's always cool. I'm not gonna.
No. It's
fine.
Okay.
Are you the Shivani of this trio?
Oh.
Who's Taz? Oh God, I'm Excalibur. Sorry, Danny. I think you're Taz.
You do have the mask.
I do.
Yeah, but you give off some Shivani vibes too. I think it's. And if Rev is usually hosting us in this, I feel like that would make him the Excalibur.
I guess that's fair.
I mean, I think
if Chad keeps wearing fedoras, he's going to be JR.
God.
Right?
So it's even better. I love the match. I love Brody King. I think I'm the highest on him in this group. I want him to do well, and I think he looked really imposing. It always sucks when you see an entire group beat down a guy and then they still lose because it kind of makes them feel a little inept. I know Sting balanced it out, but they should have just tossed him right in. But good night to be a Julia Hart fan. She had 2 segments, and I enjoyed the match. It was nice little symmetry to see Darby beat Brody the same way Brody initially beat him with the choke outside the ring. And man, was it physical. It was a physical, brutal match. Both men came
any other
to play.
con with those 2 guys?
Clearly not. Clearly not. And I hope, even though I think I know better, that Darby is on to bigger things. But I think we all kind of know that's probably not the case. And yeah, good match. Good little mini feud. Like, this was a TV feud, and it was a good little TV feud and proper way to end it.
So real quick, can we just get the Miro stuff from later on out of the way? What's going on with that guy? Why is he really mad at Malachi? Because of
from the
4-way match? Like,
yeah.
Because he had that title won, and Malachi came up and hit him with the mist while he had the game over locked.
And he's done nothing about it since.
Yeah.
It's gone way too long.
He's idly threatened.
Malachi was in the match too, so he was just trying to win the match. This really doesn't feel, it feels like a nothing feud in a way.
I mean, I'm excited for it because I love both guys, and I think they're going to have a good old Haas fight. I think they're going to beat the shit out of each other, and I think it's going to be a really good, strong match. And it's
him
also
and King or him and Malachi?
Him and Malachi. I mean, him and King too, but we know that Malachi is a good striker, know?
Well, you say Haas, I'm thinking, a guy like King.
Yes, but I do think, like, I would be just as afraid of fighting Malachi Black in real life as I would Brody King.
Yeah, that's fair.
If maybe not more so. I don't know. So I think it's going to be a very good match. And I wish there was more. Like, they've been stopped going it a lot, where he came out and confronted them that one week while wearing the sunglasses, and then nothing. It's been backstage promos. And he's good in them, but I wish it was more pushed to the forefront. And I get that they, I guess, needed to finish the Darby feud first.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But I mean, I don't know. Maybe just plan that feud better. Yeah. Maybe time management needs to be worked on a little bit. But I'm excited for it. I love like these dark satanic guys going against like God's Redeemer, or I don't know, whatever he is now. And I love that aspect of Julia Hart grabbing him, and he's like, "You ain't my wife. You don't get to touch me."
Like, you are not the woman who gets to touch the Redeemer.
And considering who that woman is, I get it. Good for Miro. He's literally turning down one blonde for, I guess she's not blonde anymore, but still, good for Miro. Good for Miro.
I do also like the fact Miro calls the House of Black pagans.
Yeah,
because he's got the Redeemer. I think that's just a great touch. I know that it's taken a minute to build up, but Miro, in that vignette you mentioned, he did accept their challenge. Yeah. So hopefully we're getting something out of this within the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited to see all of that. I think it's going to be fun. And like you said, Miro getting pissed off that Julia Hart touched him was great. All right, so back to where we were. After the Darby and King match, we had Jon Moxley backstage promo to hype up the title match later. And are these never not good? I feel like every time they have the match, they go to Mox for 2 minutes, and he just kills it, and then they go to commercial. And it's probably the best formula they have.
I mean, it goes back to his Shield days, like that's where he learned to master this skill. Those backstage promos built so much hype around the Shield, and he was the voice piece in the beginning. He was the mouthpiece, I mean. So he has been doing this for a decade or so. So he's just a master at the promo, and he knows how to build that big fight feel, Yeah. I know that Cena was always in WWE Big Match John, but I really do feel that way about Moxley now. I think Moxley is Big Match John right now, and good on him. Yeah, good on him.
And also, too, now, with AEW, he has a lot more freedom in these backstage promos, which is why I think they end up being so fucking good.
Definitely.
And then upon coming back from commercial, we had Jericho respond with his own backstage promo, which was also very good.
Yeah.
And I think lended a lot of hype to that match later. Right thereafter, they announced the trios tournament and all the participants. And I think two biggest things to take away from this are that Will Ospreay and Aussie Open are in it, and the Bucks don't have a partner. Which I think, which obviously they addressed a bit later, but we shall get to that. So after that, we had the Lucha Brothers against El Facción and Gobernable, which is Andrade and
Rush.
Wow,
that was a pronunciation.
I did trip over it a bit. Anyway, who cares? Because it was a fucking tornado tag, and I love tornado tags. Tornado for the tags are probably my favorite match in all of wrestling, and it tends to lend itself to good lucha things. There were a lot of good lucha things in this match, and it made it a lot easier for Rick Knox to ref because he didn't have to keep track of who was legal. So,
like it would matter. Like AEW fucking cares.
Anyway, another note to this match before we begin. Penta was back to Penta El Cero Miedo. So, I don't know. That was interesting. Excalibur kind of made it seem like he was just doing it for the night, but I'm curious to see if he just goes back to that or he sticks with Penta Obscuro. Didn't really make too much of a difference outside of the gear, I thought. But, yeah, unless Penta's snapping arms, like, come on. You might as well just stick to this one. Anyway, end of this match was Rush tied Penta by his mask to the middle rope, and then they just started kicking the shit out of Phoenix. Rush hit a pile driver on Phoenix, and then Penta takes the mask off to break the pin up. Alex Abrahantes throws another mask to Penta, but Andrade gets it first and throws it into the crowd. The crowd very smartly responds, throw it back to try to get Penta his mask back, but they also smartly didn't throw it back. Keep that fucking mask, dude. Jose, the assistant, took out Alex, and that's still my feud of the year. And then Rush hit the bull's horns in the corner on Ray, and Andrade hit El Idolo and picks up the pin. So, James, like I said, good lucha stuff in this match. It ended with a lot of, bullshit heel things, but I love watching all these guys wrestle together. I don't think they've ever had a bad match. And it's always exciting when these guys get together.
I typically agree, but I have a feeling, I'm sorry, I think I might be a little bit of a Debbie Downer tonight. I wasn't crazy about this match. I was hyped for it before, we got it. And I think it had some good parts. Like, I don't want to bury the match. It had some exciting spots, but I felt that there were some spots of sloppiness. I can't even, this isn't my bias, but maybe it is a little bit. I didn't blame Andrade as much as I blamed Rush. Rush felt kind of out of place in this match a little bit. It felt like there were a couple of spots that he was either late on or didn't really hit his mark in general. Again, good lucha things. I don't want to take that away. Like, they always have good chemistry. But there was just something about, especially near the end, it felt like there was a lot of either this was a very convenient spot or we're waiting for something to happen. And maybe I got to rewatch it, and maybe I was just being too critical. And I've been honest about the fact that I'm just not a big Rush fan. But yeah, this match was okay for me. Had some good spots. Loved the assistant taking out Alex. The Penta ripping his own mask off to break the pin showed how desperate he was, and I thought that was a great spot. But yeah, some of the moves just didn't quite hit for me.
That's fair. I would agree with you to the extent that I don't think this is their best match.
Yeah,
and obviously, as Excalibur said, this was the first time these two teams had faced off against each other. He mentioned, obviously LIJ and not just LIJ, but, them also in Mexico, and the Lucha Brothers have faced off in some way, shape, or form for years now. It's just this combination of men have never been in the ring together. Perhaps that lended itself to a bit of the miscommunications you were mentioning.
Yeah. They talked about this was their first time teaming in 7 years, Andrade and Rush. Like, maybe you do need to sort of get the juices flowing again as a tag team, and that's fine.
Yeah, knock the little ring rust off.
Yeah, but
build the chemistry again.
I didn't hate the match, but it didn't hit it out of the park for me the way I was hoping it would.
Yeah, it could have been better. I tend to love these styles of matches.
Oh, I do too.
Especially tornadoes.
I love tornado tag matches. It's whenever I'm playing a wrestling game, that tends to be my favorite type of match to play. It's just something about it. The pace and the flow of the match could have been a little bit better, but that's, I guess, me picking a little bit.
No, and I think that's fair, especially with guys of these caliber. Like, I think nitpicking them to an extent is warranted at certain points. Danny, do you feel the same way James does? You're a little more on my side here. Because I did see you fist bump when James said he's going to be a Debbie Downer today. Like, yes, I've gotten to him.
I think he just in general likes when I've embraced the dark side.
Okay. I guess I'll be the can-do John Cena. Oh my God. But,
I was going to say, so you joining House of Black? Or?
Okay, so, I mean, you know what I really like? I like watching Taiwan Walker's post-game interviews because he's so well-spoken, and he just always, he always gives good answers, and he didn't sound like what I thought he would sound like the first time I heard him speak. So I was just very, impressed by that. And I think he has some of the best post-game speeches. But as far as this match goes,
Pitched great today.
He did. He really did. I didn't give a fuck about this match at all. There's no one to care about. It's all a bunch of losers. And I feel bad saying that because I like the Lucha Bros a lot, but I think I already made this point like a month ago that they've kind of been overexposed and not misused, but just used to a limit where I don't want to see them for a while. I'm actually kind of over them. Penta, I don't know what's going on with that guy. Is he dark and spooky and evil, or is he just, does he have zero fear? Like what's going on? You know, Alex Abrahantes is fantastic. No notes. Keep doing what you're doing, buddy. But, and Phoenix is weird because he's like one of the most athletic and gifted wrestlers on the face of the planet, but he's pretty bland as a character. Like, I don't actually know what his character is, besides that he's really athletic and good.
Oh, that is his character, yeah.
That's just him as a wrestler. That's like his wrestling style is bullshit. You know, he does bullshit that shouldn't be able to be done. Like, you know,
he defies physics and the laws of gravity.
Yeah,
and that's his character.
But so he's a superhero. Is he?
No, he's not Neville.
I was gonna say Ricochet, but you know, I don't care about anyone in this match at all. Like, so I don't even know if it was good or not. Honestly, I zoned out pretty hard because why was Andrade wrestling in his shirt? Was that ever explained?
Nope.
Because it's new merch.
Not a good excuse.
Yeah,
not a good excuse.
At least
come
Roosh,
out in it.
Yeah, Roosh ripped it off in like the first 30 seconds of the match, at least. Like,
yeah, I don't know, and it's like
nice
they're facing. So, Death Triangle's not in the tournament, or
nope.
But
I think Pac
Andrade
is
and
over in England defending the All Atlantic Championship, so that's probably why not.
He can't come for one Wednesday.
I mean, they brought out Will Ospreay for fuck's sake. He's not even in the company, and he's in Japan.
They have an established trio that has been a trio for like over a year. Granted, a lot of that time was they weren't a trio because Pac wasn't there, but
yeah,
still, it's weird. And the fact that they're facing the Bucks and Kenny or whoever the mystery partner is means that they're not winning. So like, why? I didn't care about this at all. But it's the right thing to do because they're going in against someone a lot more high profile than them. So you should give them this kind of win to build them up. I absolutely think that's the right thing to do. I just don't care. Like,
I wanted on the record that Roosh, so the third member of that team is going to be Dragon Lee, who is Roosh's brother. And they just had a brother versus brother match at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view that Roosh cheated to win. So why are they teaming?
That's a great point. But if they're also brothers, why don't they just have them team against the Lucha Bros tonight? That would have been a little bit more interesting of a dynamic.
Help
and then
introduce Dragon Lee to the more casual AEW audience, because that doesn't watch Ring of Honor.
Well, I will say, when you guys do see Dragon Lee, his work is going to speak for him. So I know I tend to hype up some guys. I've seen him, but he is he is somebody who I would rather see against Ray. Damn, no, I just kind of proved your point. Yeah, he should have been in this tag match because him versus Ray Phoenix would have been amazing.
I'm sure he's great. I just know for a fact I'm going to zone out for that match.
I would also like to point out Death Triangle is indeed in the tournament. They are facing Will Ospreay and Aussie Open.
Oh, okay, fair enough then.
In the first round.
So the losers lost. The losers beat bigger losers who are going to lose to people who are probably going to lose in the semifinals. And while the other losers who won this match are going to probably make it, are going to lose to the people who are probably going to make it to the finals.
They're going to have Aussie Open beat Death Triangle.
Absolutely.
So Will Ospreay can challenge Pac for the Atlantic title. Calling it right now.
Absolutely. And then
nothing but net.
Ospreay can be the Atlantic City champion.
If you are wrong, I am sending that Nick Young gif where he celebrates that rim out so fast. Just to run down the rest of this tournament, since we didn't before, and then we can get into the Young Bucks. So we have underneath Death Triangle and Will Ospreay and Aussie Open side. We have the aforementioned Andrade, Dragon Lee, and Roosh against the Bucks and an unknown third partner. And the other side of the bracket is House of Black and Dark Order. And then Best Friends versus Trustbusters, which is apparently a team we needed to round out this tournament.
Well, they do have a little bit of hype around them. It's Ari Daivari, who is the centerpiece of this for some reason. Parker Bordeaux, and I forget who the third guy is, but they are like, Tony Khan is very excited about this trio. He's very excited that they scooped up Parker Bordeaux. He was the guy from NXT.
Where's Chad when you need him?
Right? No, he was the guy that everyone was comparing to Brock Lesnar.
Ah, I believe I know who you're talking about.
Braun Breaker?
But yeah, that's him.
That is the tournament. We'll get into the tournament as it continues. So. But it should be fun. But let's move on to the next segment, which was the Bucks backstage on the Cutler cam, going to try to find their third partner. And they go into the locker room to find the Dark Order and Hangman hanging out. So they thank Hangman for saving them last week. And Matt starts apologizing for everything that's happened over the past couple of years, all the bullshit they've been through, and how they had a lot more fun when they were with Hangman in the beginning of AEW and before that in New Japan with the Elite and stuff. And they, like I said, they apologized, and then they officially asked Hangman to join them in the tournament. Hangman politely declines, and a bit awkwardly, I might add, because he wants to have the back of the Dark Order, because they had his back through all of his stuff when he was champion, and during his rise, so he wants to have their back. The Bucks walk out. They're they're upset. I don't know if they're upset, but
they're disappointed.
They're disappointed. Yes, they're clearly disappointed. And then Cutler goes, "You guys, you think he means me as your third partner?" And then they tell him to shut the fuck up, and they go to commercial. So I don't know. Make it Cutler. It'd be fun.
No, it won't.
Well, it should be Cutler.
It should be Kenny.
I can't think of a better wrestler to team with them than Brandon Cutler.
It should be Kenny, but it would be really funny if Cutler ended up getting them a win because the both of them get knocked out and they have to tag him in.
Cutler pins Andrade.
All right, I unironically like Cutler, and
so do I.
I know that he's fitting this role beautifully of being their corner man, but I do think he's a good worker. I think that they could do more with him than they actually are. I don't need a major run for this guy, but I would like to see him actually wrestle from time to time. I miss his dragon gimmick, his D&D gimmick.
So it sounds like you just talked yourself into him being in this
No, I like him in general, but my heart has not felt full since Kenny has left. I need him back. I feel like
do we really want him and the Bucks to be the trios champions?
Do I want Kenny Omega to win a championship? That is what you're asking me. Yes, I do. Because he's not going to win the World Championship. He's above the TNT Championship. I don't want him wrestling in Japan for the Atlantic Championship. This is all I have left. Unless he puts on his Jasmine outfit and goes for either the TBS title or the TNT title, this is all I have left.
Do you mean the AEW women's title?
Yeah, he does. I was going to
say TNT? Did I say? Yeah. I'm stressed. I need him to win gold again.
I'm still rooting for best friends in that tournament, but
that's fair.
That's fair. I would like to say that I really liked. I feel like emo Bucks get a bad rap. I like that they're not one-dimensional and that things bother them, even though they're heels. They still get upset about things and are emotionally affected by things, and not just in a heel way where they either get angry or laugh maniacally. I think. That's very nice, and especially I can relate to this because, they were apologizing to Hangman, and I believe they were sincere, but because they're such dicks, they couldn't deliver this message in a way that didn't still sound a little sarcastic and a little disingenuous, And I understand.
And a little selfish too.
Yeah, I suffer from that constantly. So I can totally relate to trying to be sincere with someone, and it sounded very very sarcastic and not genuine. But and then I like the Hangman's not in the tournament. I think that's good. I also think although I'd rather see him with Silver and Reynolds, than now I don't care about the Dark Order being in the tournament, honestly. But I think character-wise, it's a very Hangman thing to do. It's a very, I'm not getting into this confrontation. I'm not confronting these people or my emotions. So I would just not be in the tournament. And obviously, I think I could almost say it's definitely the highlight of the week is Daniel Vogelback running from first to home on a fucking. Did you see it? It was so.
The Vogel snack himself.
Keith literally said he's chugging. Look at him chugging around the bases. It's fantastic.
Obviously, because I haven't been here in 2 weeks, Danny and I haven't talked much Mets baseball. Now he's just plugging it into every segment we do here. I do have to agree with you on Emo Bucks, though. I think.
What about the Vogelback thing? Do you agree on that?
Oh, I mean, of course, man. I might get his jersey and he might leave at the end of the season. No, I like Emo Bucks because I think obviously it lends a whole bunch of depth to their character, but it also tends to, preface them turning face because they start getting depressed and sad and they realize it's because they're being assholes and they need to change their ways. And then they fall back into being dicks again when, championships and money start coming around. And I think it is it a little repetitive, perhaps. They've only done it once or twice, I guess, but I think it's really good, storytelling. I think that's what happens with people. They start losing and they get sad and they reflect and they try to change things.
And even though they're getting sad and they like you said, they're reflecting, they want to change things, it's not always that black and white where it's just like, okay, like I was wrong, I need to fix it. A lot of times people are like, okay, I was wrong, I want to fix it, and then they find a way in their head to justify their behavior and they end up keep doing it. And, and then Todd and Diane and Princess Carolyn don't want to be their friends anymore after that. But I don't know, like, I guess I assume you're about to throw to James, and I assume you're going to ask him how he felt about the Yankees trading Montgomery away only to get swept by the Cardinals like a few days later.
They lost again tonight. No, I was going.
Shut up, Nick.
I stayed up for that game
Nick,
last night too.
You're
that
getting
was
out of hand with that.
No, what I was going to say too is I think with Hangman, he accepted the apology to an extent, but I feel like it's such a wrestling trope. It's like, oh yeah, no, we're cool again, just because you saved me. And he was like, yeah, no, like that's cool, and like thank you for the apology, and sure, but I'm not just gonna join back up with you guys because you apologized and you feel sad. Like these are my friends now. I have to have their back. They were there for me.
He got some sort of closure where the Bucks didn't. Like he found closure in that, and that's again, not to compare to BoJack Horseman again, but it's like, hey, I accept what you've done, and I even accept your apology, but some bridges were burnt, and even though the fire's out, it doesn't.
The damage is still done.
Yeah, and it's going to take a lot longer to rebuild.
And AEW tends to be good about acknowledging things from the past, and it should be acknowledged that Hangman did apologize to the Bucks first. Yeah. He apologized to them the night, well, not the night of.
The week before.
Yeah, the week before, about, his role in how their friendship deteriorated. So I do genuinely believe everyone's going to be on, like, good terms. It's just they're at different points of their life now, which feels so real, and it's so refreshing to see in a wrestling angle. Like Nick, you alluded to it. It's like sometimes it's just we're good, you're good, we're best friends, yay! And it sometimes it just feels forced. So, I mean, I know I keep bringing up Kenny, but it's true. Like, he says to them, you should probably team up with someone who hasn't turned their back on you at some point. And that would be Kenny. That would be Kenny. I mean, Cutler, it would also be Brandon Cutler too, yes. But I think, one, I know I'm not going to get it because there's no way Dark Order is getting past fucking House of Black. But I feel like I'm so close to getting my Dark Order versus the Elite. And, it is what it is that I'm not going to get it. I got a nice musical on BTE instead. And you know what? Sometimes that's enough.
We got Dark Order versus the Elite. It was the 5-man tag. That was amazing.
No, it was. It absolutely was. But I would love to see it under, the new status quo,
You mean the new status quo where the Dark Order are nobodies and are never on TV and the Elite are still the Elite? That's the status quo you'd like to see it under?
But they have consciences now. I feel like Kenny's coming back as a babyface. I feel like the Bucks are they're just a turn away from being baby faces. So, and Hangman would be in their corner as opposed to being in the match. And there's only 4 of them now.
Kenny clearly cares about Hangman now too.
Yeah.
From the BT anniversary episode. So, also on BT, this was not this week's episode, but last week's. Hangman was the only one not drinking during his birthday. See, character growth.
The man has evolved. But yeah, I just
Take
love
notes, Jeff.
Oh.
I feel like James would make a really poignant point there, and he just fucked it up. Yeah. Let's just move on. We gotta power through the rest of this show. Next we had Luchasaurus versus somebody I don't know because I went to grab a drink, and by the time I came back, the match ended. Who did he face? Exactly. Okay. Doesn't really matter. I apologize to you, person Luchasaurus absolutely squashed. I genuinely didn't see you on screen.
It was JD Drake's partner, like the workhorseman.
Oh, okay. I know who that. I don't know their name, but I know who that is. Anyway, it was really fast. Jungle Boy was on commentary after Luchasaurus won. Christian appeared on screen and was very clearly in the backstage interview area. So Jungle Boy sprinted after him. As he gets there, security just comes out of nowhere and intercepts him and holds him back. Christian takes off. Luchasaurus comes in, starts cleaning out security guys. Jungle Boy joins in. They clean house, but then Luchasaurus turns around and he accidentally headbutts Pat Buck, who is a AEW official.
Was it accidental?
Well,
I don't think that was accidental.
No, it was on purpose, but I don't think he was trying to headbutt Pat Buck. I think he was just in the moment, turned around and just headbutted the next dude who grabbed him. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. I feel like Luchasaurus is showing more aggression than he was before. He has this new look now. He's got new music. I think he's being much more aggressive the way Christian was showing him. It is in the corner of Jungle Boy, but it is clearly a newer, more violent Luchasaurus, I think. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see where that goes. All right. After that, we had the Miro vignette, which we talked about earlier. And then we had a Powerhouse Hobbs backstage interview with Mark Henry, which I thought was a nice touch. Big man interviewing a big man. Mark asked Hobbs if he was done with Ricky Starks. And before he could even answer, he was interrupted by QT Marshall and the rest of the factory. QC just said a bunch of shit about the match that Solo was going to have with Starks. And then Hobbs said, "Don't let your mess become my mess," and walked away.
Which doesn't even make sense.
I think it was pretty much take his ass out or you'll have to deal with me, which is why later they were going so hard after Ricky.
Yeah, it still doesn't make sense.
Like it's his mess. It's his
mess. If anything's like, sorry, my mess is becoming your mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't.
It was just interesting. That was Anthony Ogogo with them, right?
Yeah.
So,
honest to God, I had a double take. I thought he was Roman Reigns. Just the way his shave up and his beard was, it looked just like Roman. All right. So after this, we had Sanjay Dutt, Satnam Singh, and Jay Lethal in the ring, bragging about how they put Wardlow through a table on Saturday at Battle of the Belts, even though Jay Lethal lost. Lethal then said he wanted another shot at the title. Wardlow comes out. He says, "Yeah, I don't give a shit. You can have another shot at the title, but I'm going to kick all your asses." He starts going to the ring for a 3-on-1 beatdown, but then he's backed up by FTR.
Loved it.
So
Loved it.
They come out. They go to the ring. Lethal, for some stupid reason, decides to try them. He eats a big ring for his troubles, and that was and the title holder stand tall. I don't know what Lethal was thinking there, James.
So they were it very clearly looked like Sanjay Dutt was looking for something under the ring that he couldn't find. And I think they had to improvise because there was supposed to be something that happened. So Jay just ran in to take the bump. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but like they even emphasized, it looks like he's looking for something under the ring, and maybe, but all the tables were broken. So I don't know what that was about. Weird segment, but I loved seeing FTR with Wardlow, nice little Pinnacle callback. And like, that was kind of the main reason why they broke up with MJF in the first place. They said, Wardlow's our boy. We're not going to like mess with him. Yeah. And they got pissed at MJF.
They said they were neutral, and MJF got a little mad,
but afterwards.
And then
he was like, he's our boy. We're not like they said that. So I like to see old connections be brought back up and to, make sense. So I liked it. I don't really know where you go from here, just because that trio should not be a trio. It should be about highlighting Jay Lethal now, and if they have plans for Singh to highlight him after, but they shouldn't be a trio that I should take seriously. So I don't know. I'm ready for this feud to be done. I'm fine with them being a trio. I'm fine with them being a team. Don't need this to continue.
Yeah, I don't expect to continue past Lethal's rematch for the TNT Championship. And again, I think this is another group of guys that, being Lethal, Singh, and Sut, that I think they're going to end up being on Ring of Honor whenever they figure that shit out, as opposed to being on AEW all the time. So I don't mind seeing Lethal on my TV. I like watching him wrestle, but I don't know. I agree with you there. It was a little weird. All right. So after that, unless Danny, you have anything for us there?
Yeah, okay. I want to shit on it real quick.
Okay.
James got to. I don't get shit on it. This was terrible. This was so bad. This was fucking awful. First of all, you advertise the Pinnacle making their return. I mean, you advertise FTR making their return on the show, and then they do it in like an impromptu save. So what was the advertised return? What were they going to do? Why didn't they say anything? Like, that doesn't, like, kayfabe wise, it makes no sense, because then it's like, either you knew that this would happen, like, it doesn't make any sense. It's dumb. But and then more so, I actually love the Pinnacle thing that James brought up, so I thought that was a really good point that has actually softened my stance on this slightly, ever so slightly, but because that's actually a nice touch. But just seeing FTR interact with this group that's so far beneath, they were like the hottest act on the show a month ago.
They still
are.
Where
have they been?
They've been hurt. They've been hurt. At the Ring of Honor pay-per-view against the Briscoes, Dax hurt his shoulder or something. Again, so he's been not rehabbing, but he's just been resting.
Okay, fair enough. But
that's why they had originally advertised the return, is that they hadn't been there in weeks because they got hurt.
Yeah. But again, what was the return supposed to be if they didn't come out and make the save? Like, what? Why didn't they just stay and cut a promo after? Like, I don't understand. But just them having to interact with this loser freaking group. And again, no offense to Jay Lethal. He is fantastic. But in Jay Lethal in AEW is a jabroni. Satnam Singh is Omos. The other guy is like the fourth iteration of Mark Sterling in this company right now. There's way too many Mark Sterlings running around this show right now. And none of them are Mark Sterling. It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. Like that. So them being associated with that is just lame. But ultimately, they'll probably just squash them next week, and like that'll be that. But like this was like, this did nothing for me. The only thing that did anything is the Pinnacle aspect of it that James brought up. That's the only part of this I liked.
Yeah. And not to mention too, like I feel between Wardlow and FTR, those are three of the most over dudes on the roster right now. So putting them together is just pouring gasoline on a fire.
Yeah, and having them face Lethal and the cronies is,
I don't know if they're going to do that, though. I think it was just
fire.
a one-time thing for tonight. Like, I don't think they're going to.
Wardlow feuding with them is putting that fire out.
They're going to have a match, so this isn't just a one-night thing. But
you think they have a 6-man?
Yeah, like why else? Like why else do this? You know? Oh, we're going to run away. It's like he wants a title match. He's not going to just run away. He got it.
Yeah. He got the title match. So.
No, I can't imagine that they're not going to have a 6-man.
This is AEW, okay? They're going to... When is this match going to happen? Is it happening on Rampage of the title match?
I mean, not this Rampage, but it'll probably be next Rampage.
I thought Wardlow said next week, so it could be on Dynamite.
Maybe
could open Dynamite next week. Would not surprise me one iota.
Yeah.
That's true, but how long were we waiting for the Chris Statlander Athena versus Jade and fellow baddie match that now is never gonna happen?
Stats out, which sucks.
And I was gonna, before that happened, I was literally like, man, no matter what happens in the women's division on the show, I'm bringing that up because that feud has been going on for so long. I forgot what feud I actually wanted to compare it to. And we might have already talked about it, or I don't remember.
One of the Cody ones,
but
any of them.
Like, yeah, where it's like, dude, you're building, like you're not building, but it's taking forever to happen. But there's no build, and it's like
Darby and Andrade.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was something on this show, but I zoned out a lot during this show. But yeah, I'm not interested in that. Wardlow needs to move on. He's too hot to be
messing with Jay Lethal. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's sad to say because Jay Lethal's fantastic, but not in AEW.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, hopefully they don't have that 6-man and they just get the TNT title match out of the way and we're good. All right, let's move on real quick. So we had a backstage interview with some members of the Jericho Appreciation Society to hype up the match later. Garcia ended up calling out Bryan Danielson, called myself. And then NJ choked out some rando because that's her fucking gimmick now, and I hate it.
I do too. I really hate it. She feels too cartoony.
Oh my God, it's so fucking stupid.
She feels like more like a Dark Order member now.
Yes. Yes.
That's such a good point. I didn't even think of that. Oh my God, she's ridiculous. Her gimmick is just like unhinged crazy chick who's going to choke you out. Like that makes
it's not even unhinged. It's just goofy.
Yeah, I just think because she's not a good enough of an actress in that regard. Like she's just the way she's trying to portray it. It just ends up coming off goofy. It's so awful. I hate everything about her joining the Jericho Appreciation Society, and I hate everything about this gimmick. And I'm going to restrain myself because I could probably go for another 20 minutes. And because I haven't been here for 2 weeks.
Besides the name, Anna JS is great. I'll stand by that.
It's a decent nickname, but it's still just all seriously pissing me off. Oh,
I'm just
breathe. All right. After this, we get the Ricky Starks versus Aaron Solo match. This was set up when Ricky the other week refused to join the factory in exchange for their protection against Hobbs, because that sounds like some real solid protection there. Starks made pretty quick work of Solo, who they emphasize a lot that they were former tag team partners. And then Nick Camarado came down with the chair from the top of the ramp. Starks hit a spine buster on Camarado in a statement to Powerhouse Hobbs. And then he went for the Rochambeau on him, which would have been seriously impressive considering how big he was. But Solo attacked him from behind. And Starks was able to escape while they were trying to line up Starks to get hit with a chair, and he ran into the crowd. And then they cut backstage, and Hobbs slammed the television into the crowd, literally ripped it off the hinges and just destroyed it, which was pretty cool. So, quick match, not a lot here, but obviously just extending the storyline of the breakup of the dissolution, more like it, of Team Taz. So, I watched all the last 2 weeks of Dynamite this morning, so like they're all running in my head. I'm like, wait, what's going to happen where? So I'm just trying to keep my back. Like I thought the women's tag match from last week was tonight, and I just reading my notes. I was like, when was that? Oh yeah, that's right. That was last week, I think, because that match was great.
Honestly, just good on you for watching it all. You know,
Got to make sure he knows what's going on.
Usually when I miss a week, I'll catch the clips, but good for you.
Yeah. Well, lucky
usually
me,
when
TBS
I miss a
apps
week,
knowing.
I watch the Mark It Down podcast to find out what happened on it.
Well, I didn't want to get myself spoiled, so I'm going to watch them tomorrow. All right. So after that match, we had a backstage interview with the Gun Club. Billy is very pissed off that the boys lost the dumpster match last week. Stokely came over and tried to give the Ass Boys his card, but Billy took it and threw it away. Danny obviously upset Stokely as being more featured. And then Billy got them a match on Rampage against Danhausen and Eric Redbeard, who I don't think they actually showed on camera. Danhausen just referred to him as this tall bearded fellow, and then they cut away. And I didn't know who it was until Excalibur very quickly ran down the card at the end of the match. So
until you said it now, I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's a surprise to me.
So they called it Beardhausen. So that's who they're wrestling on Rampage.
God.
Whatever. So then after commercial, we had the Best Friends. They were interviewing with Shivani, and before Orange could even say anything, they were interrupted by the aforementioned Trustbusters and Ari Daivari. And I literally wrote, really? I didn't know this was a thing. I guess it happened on Rampage or something, and I missed it.
It's been going on for a little while, this group, but very, very new. Very new, but it happened a little
perhaps
while.
A bit of Dark Elevation, perhaps some Rampage. I hadn't seen it. Anyway, the Trustbusters were trying to recruit Orange, but he said no, and then Daivari says he'll regret it. And now I think they have a couple of matches coming up in a few ways, shapes, form, including the first round of the Trios tournament. Now we have Jade Cargill against Madison Rayne for the TBS title match. And James, before I even start, I'm going to go to you because I imagine you actually know who Madison Rayne is. And I don't.
Madison Rayne is? Who doesn't know who Madison Rayne is?
Madison Rayne is a TNA knockout, Impact knockout. She was part of the Beautiful People along with Velvet Sky and Angelina Love. She has been wrestling for 15 years, Danny, you'd say? At least on a national level?
I would say from at least 2007,
Yeah, so she is now the coach of the women's division, legit backstage. She is now going to be coaching the women's division for AEW. She still works for Impact. In fact, she'll be wrestling tomorrow on Impact against Mia Yim. Come check out my Gym Pack Zone review. And thank you, TM. And
pending.
She's a very capable wrestler. And I thought this match was exactly what Jade needed. She got to wrestle against a veteran. And, nobody expected Jade to lose. We all knew Jade was going to win. But being in the ring with somebody who has so much experience is only going to make you better. And Jade is already doing so much to get better. She has gotten so much better since she debuted. And this is just another name to add to the list for notable wins. So I thought it was a nice match. Madison got some good offense in, and Jade's streak continues.
Yeah, I thought I liked the match, and it ended with Rayne went for her cross Rayne, but Cargo reversed it, hit Jaded, and got the pin. And obviously, we had the post-match stuff where Athena, who was disguised as a baddie, snuck in the ring and decked Jade from behind, but she was saved by Kiera Hogan, which I think obviously we're setting up for the Athena versus what we've been setting up for Athena versus Jade Cargill, but now Statlander's not around, so that dynamic shifts a bit. But I like the match. You could clearly see that I think, Rayne was the ring general here.
Yeah,
it did feel like a little bit off, just a half a step. I don't know, just a little janky in spots. But I thought they both wrestled well, and like you said, James, Jade has come such a long way from where she was to now, and she's only going to continue to get better because of the hard work she puts in. She busts her ass. And B, she's just such a good athlete. There's no way she's not going to be good at this. So I'm always excited to see how much better Jade is getting. And I'm always excited to see her put on good matches. So hopefully Madison's able to help her even more. And she's able to continue to do and get better. So Danny, your thoughts on this match?
Match was fine.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it, but I'm trying to look for the positives here.
We got to put that on a t-shirt. Match was fine. Yeah,
I mean,
Mark it down, merch. Coming to Pro Wrestling Tees eventually.
Madison is great. It's good that she has a position there, and I think she's going to help a lot of people. And even with like promos, because hell, the beautiful people cut fantastic promos. They're a large part of why TNA was renowned for its knockouts division. Corny name aside, that division was fantastic from 2009 through like 2014. It was like the best part of Impact.
Yep, I'd agree.
So she was a big part of that. Her, Velvet Sky, Angelina Love, Tara, Mickey James, Gail Kim.
Yep.
Awesome Kong, obviously.
For sure.
But there was the match was fine, and Jade is whatever. But I think it just sounds like what I was complaining about like 5 minutes ago, where it's like, why do we need the stopgap in the incredibly long road to the Athena Jade match? Like, this could have been a 2-week feud after Jade beats Athena, especially if we're trying to buy time for Statlander, because we don't know what's wrong with Statlander.
Knee supposedly.
So, but is it that bad? Do we know the severity? Is it just she needs some time off? Because I feel like she was just posting like crazy workout videos.
She's had knee injury. She had a bad knee injury before.
Yeah,
so I don't.
For so long.
Yeah, so I'd imagine that this is at the very least precautionary.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would give her a month off.
Yeah.
Just to be safe, I'd give her a month off. But I don't know. I don't think nobody has really disclosed anything yet. And even us thinking it's the knee is sort of based off what her last match was. So there's no real, we know this for certain yet. Nobody has said anything out loud.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, we'll see. Because I've convinced myself that Statlander should be the one to dethrone Jade, or at the very least, it should be an AEW original and not an ex-WWE woman, even though I think that an ex-WWE woman should have won the main women's title, but that's neither here nor there. But match was fine. I need Jade, and it's almost like Athena's. It's another botched debut because it's
taken too long.
Yeah, it's because even if she wins, I'm gonna be like, why did we wait so long? Then what it's already deflated and it hasn't happened yet,
Yeah, I don't even know if Athena's gonna win.
She's not.
I don't know how long Jade has had this title in terms of time
since its existence.
Yeah, obviously since its existence. I just don't know how many calendared months or days she's had it. But I think she's at 30. Is it 36 wins now?
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have her put up quite a few more before she actually ends up losing. I think we talked about this once, and I threw out 50. So,
but my issue is with streaks. The moment you start acknowledging a streak, I'm ready for it to end.
And then
it was acknowledged from when she started.
Wait, what, Danny?
Streaks, I said they always end up ending in a disappointing way. It's deflating.
Yep.
Streaks are a real double-edged sword because they're great for a while, and then they become tedious, and then the payoff almost never feels worth it.
Yeah. I mean, the two biggest ones ended with a cattle prod and Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see your point. I want to find
a way to cut that out and make it sound like you're calling Charlotte Flair cattle prod.
Things Andrade wants in the bedroom. Moving on.
I wasn't ready.
The final segment before the main event was a backstage interview with Thunderstorm. Tony is now number one contender because, as we said, Chris Statlander is hurt. So Thunder said, look, I get it. You want to go for the title, but we'll talk about it later. And absolutely nothing happened. So
very awkward.
It was very awkward. I still want to see a Thunder Rosa heel turn. I think it'd be cool. I think it would inject a lot of life into her title reign, which has been, I think, picking up a bit more steam. Her getting more defensive and defenses and going overseas and fighting some of the Joshis, which I think has been cool. But I think a heel turn would really, really put a fire under this title reign. So we'll see. But that was Dynamite. It was good. Obviously, the Punk return, the highlight of all of this. We'll see how all of that goes. Like I said earlier, I'm excited to see him and Moxley mix it up, both on the mic and in the ring. Do you guys have any last thoughts before we get out of here?
Yes. There's a two-parter. First part, I know I brought it up earlier, but James, how did it feel trading away one of your better pitchers and then losing to that team, getting swept by that team in a 3-game set? How was that?
It wasn't even that they traded one of their pitchers who they desperately need now that their rotation just is inexplicably not pitching well. And they traded for a guy who's hurt.
Yeah.
An outfielder who's hurt. So I don't know what the hell Cashman was doing there.
Yeah, very, very weird.
I am very anti-Cashman. I will admit that. I do not like him. His time is over, and I'm ready for him to leave. Which God knows when that'll happen. We're still winning. We're still in a good spot. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're gonna be in the playoffs, but it's just like it's gonna be fun. It's fun right now because it's not even kicking someone while they're down. We're 100% punching up. You are the 1%. You are
more. The best are the half of 1% with Uncle Stevie.
I know, but that's true. But as an organization, though, it's still we're still nothing. So that's good. That was part one. That's what I wanted to bring up. But part two.
Oh boy.
This one, I think it's a tough question. I'm really going to put you guys in a really tough position. What was the bigger return, CM Punk or Dexter Lumis?
Okay. Punk is bigger.
You already think it's Lumis. Okay, no explanation needed.
Lumis was better. Lumis was better. Punk was bigger.
It was far more creative. Lumis was.
Yes.
I will say it was more creative, but it's ultimately Dexter Lumis, who is not a Pokemon, as I've recently learned. But because look, man, Lumis, Luminion, they're both named after the same thing, but one's a bland, generic fish Pokemon, and the other is a bland, generic murderer, I think.
I was gonna say that dude is bland. That dude is not bland nor generic.
Just because you murder people doesn't mean you're not bland or generic. That's not the dude from You is very bland and generic, but
this is true.
Hey, Penn Badgley is beautiful.
Ted Bundy was pretty bland and generic.
But he doesn't look like Ted Bundy.
I know. I was just saying.
Yeah,
I'm getting worked up.
It was better, but it's like one where I almost feel like it's wasted on Dexter Lumis, just because it's like you can't make us. How can you try to tell us that was a big deal? Like, are we supposed to know that that's a big deal, or are we supposed to know that?
Well,
I know him axe murdering his way through security to get to ringside, only to be dragged out at the end. It's kind of cool.
The bits,
but it only works for him.
Were great, but that's the thing is like it instills confidence in me that it's the way it was done, because I like how no one acknowledged the car crash in the background, no one acknowledged the security and the cops running in the background. I liked that aspect of it, but it's like, it's just some guy that had a creepy relationship with India Hartwell. From what I don't.
It was a beautiful relationship. They got married, and it wasn't forced. It was like that was just love. But anyway,
and it went well because he threatened to murder everybody. I don't know. Welcome to another episode of Off Topic. My name is Nick Cummings.
I'm happy to discuss it.
Off
that
and
was
topic.
it. It was a simple question, and you just,
James, do you have any final thoughts on this episode of Dynamite?
Or the Yankees?
This was a very character-driven episode of Dynamite. I appreciate them. I would not have wanted to be in the audience for this Dynamite.
Ooh, good. Yeah, I agree with that.
That is a very fine summary. So I'm going to end it on that note. Thank you everybody for watching. It was a thrill to be back. I hope I wasn't too rusty. Be sure to like and subscribe. I don't know where we're at with subscribers.
We're 9 away. We hit 91.
We are so close to watching James rap. I need that in my life. And getting his beard green is going to be great too.
I really want to shave my beard, guys. So please, I haven't shaved because I'm going to diet. So please subscribe. My face is sweaty.
We'll talk about this off camera too. But real quick, for your rap, is anything off topic? Is anything off limits?
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Be sure to also check out all of our social media pages. I forgot to put them in the description because, like I said, I'm rusty, but I will get them there. Otherwise, go check out one of our other videos, and those links will be in there as well. So for Danny Hernandez and James Asante, my name is Nick Cumming. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Market Down Podcast. Be sure to check out our episode this week. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next